At the request of Nama Sankirtan Das of the United Kingdom, I'm going to speak a few words about this year's December book distribution marathon, as we always call it. Prabhupada was very impressed by the power of literature distribution, both from his own spiritual master. Of course, he always mentioned that his spiritual master spoke very strongly on this. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur spoke very strongly about the importance, the central importance of book distribution or literature distribution in order to spread Krishna consciousness. And also Prabhupada had a personal experience in growing up and in living in West Bengal that made a deep impression on him. West Bengal was not only the political capital of India under the British actually had their capital for India in Calcutta, but also West Bengal was an intellectual center and a literary center of India. We know that even during the time of Lord Chaitanya, as Prabhupada said, that as the Chaitanya Charitamrita said, that Navadvip, where Lord Chaitanya grew up, was something like a college town. And it was, historians say that it was one of the centers in South Asia for what was called Navanyaya, literally the new logic. It was an intellectual center for different forms of logic and argumentation. And we see Lord Chaitanya very much in the spirit of his place, because as a young Pandita, before he met his guru, Ishwara Puri, and became, or at least displayed the pastime of being overwhelmed with bhakti, before that he was very much a product of Navadvip. He was a powerful, proud young scholar. I mean, that was his pastime. He was playing that role of arguing and defeating others in argument and logic and so on. So Lord Chaitanya's pastimes before meeting his guru as a young, powerful scholar and logician was very much the kind of thing that a highly endowed Brahmin would do in Navadvip. That was kind of typical. And Sarvabhauma, who lived there, was actually, he went to Puri, but he was from that area. And he was, in fact, it's famous that he had a relationship with Lord Chaitanya's grandfather. And so Sarvabhauma was a great logician. So West Bengal, what I mean to say is that West Bengal, even during Prabhupada's time, when Prabhupada was born there and grew up there, still maintained intellectual leadership in India. And of course, you see this very clearly in the life of Bhakti Vinod Thakur. There was a group of young intellectuals, university students, and scholars, and writers, and poets called Bhadraloka, which literally means sort of like the good people. And they were this, the Bhadraloka, they were these intellectual leaders for West Bengal and for India. And so, sort of going with that, just as we find in the Western world, that intellectuals tend to be leftists, left-wing, socialists, Marxists, and so on. So it's something like that in India, because it was West Bengal, Calcutta. It was an intellectual center. You had a lot of left-wing, radical left-wing thinkers, and therefore West Bengal became one of the centers of Marxism in India. And if you look at how Marxism spread, a big part of it was capturing the intelligentsia, capturing the intellectuals, giving out literature, whether it's Das Kapital or just the Communist Manifesto. And so Prabhupada grew up in a part of India where he saw this powerful movement. And of course, the communists captured the West Bengal government for many years. And sort of intellectuals distributing literature, taking control of a society through their doctrine, through their teachings. And so Prabhupada lived through this in West Bengal. And of course, his own guru also pushed this very strongly. And so book distribution was something which, going back to Bhaktisiddhanta, going back to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, because if you look at Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was a prolific writer. He was one of the Bhadraloka. He was one of these powerful young intellectuals in West Bengal. And he wrote serious literature and poetry in 3 languages. It's one thing to be able to, sort of get around in a foreign language and you can give a talk, but to actually write serious literature in 3 languages, English, Bengali, and Sanskrit. He was a brilliant scholar, and that's what he did. Of course, he organized, he formed his Namahata, he preached, he revived Lord Chaitanya's movement, but his central contribution was his writing, his literature. And if you look at the Goswamis, the Goswamis, in a sense, their central contribution was their literature. Rupa Goswami, his great works like Lalita Madhava, Vidagna Madhava, of course, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Sanatana Goswami, Hari Bhakti Vilas. They were all writers, they were all scholars, they were all poets. So we come from a tradition which from the beginning has given central importance to the production and distribution of literature. And Prabhupada powerfully continued, in a sense, culminated that tradition. He produced all these books and he urged us to distribute them. And I personally, served Prabhupada organizing 2 of the most successful foreign language BBTs at the time. And at the time when the English was, very much central, because of course because those times Prabhupada was just finishing the books. The books were just coming out. So the American BBT was producing Prabhupada's books as he was completing them. So all eyes were on the English BBT, and also because the movement was most powerful in America and then also in England. And so the American BBT was very much the center in the sense of ISKCON. But in the foreign language BBTs, we had 2 of the most successful ones, Prabhupada recognized. So distributing transcendental literature has always been at the center of Lord Chaitanya's mission. Lord Chaitanya ordered the Goswamis to write books, which they did in the most brilliant way. So producing literature, distributing literature has always been at the center of Lord Chaitanya's movement. Prabhupada did it like nobody else. And now we are carrying on that great spiritual family tradition. So I would like to thank all the devotees who are participating in this activity. I wish you a lot of mercy, Prabhupada from Krishna, and let us continue this great family tradition. Hare Krishna.